Live images coming in from the Orly airport in Paris. That's the Prime Minister's VVIP Boeing that's just landed. The Prime Minister will be descending down the staircase in just a couple of seconds from now. The Prime Minister flew to Paris earlier today. It was an 8-hour flight, non-stop, Delhi-Paris. He's arrived there. Big security. The red carpet has been laid out. Senior officials and dignitaries awaiting the Prime Minister as he lands in Paris. Remember, the Prime Minister's touchdown in Paris is hugely significant. Both countries are to announce a slew of big-ticket defense deals that will be signed later but announced by the Prime Minister during this 2-day state visit. The Prime Minister will be receiving a tri-service guard of honor, and he has the rare privilege of being the sole invitee as guest of honor for the Bastille Day celebration in Paris tomorrow. The Bastille Day, of course, is the anniversary of the French Revolution and is celebrated as France's National Day. It's also an occasion to celebrate the India-France relationship. The Prime Minister's door of his aircraft is opening, and he will descend down the stairs. A big handshake between India and France, one of the biggest so far in a long-standing relationship that has stood the test of time. India Today's Gaurav Sawant is with us live from Paris, and he's been tracking all the developments and all the activities in Paris in the run-up to the arrival of the Prime Minister, as well as the big Bastille Day celebrations tomorrow. Gaurav, live pictures coming in from the Orly airport in Paris. The Prime Minister about to emerge from his aircraft. We're going to see a rare tri-service guard of honor for the Indian Prime Minister very shortly. The red carpet being laid out. All the stops have been pulled out for the arrival of the Indian Prime Minister, Gaurav.
Absolutely, Shiv, and you hear chants of Bharat Mata Ki Jai. This, of course, is the Indian community here in Paris. They've come to the hotel where the Prime Minister would be staying. This is the Plaza Athénée Hotel in the heart of Paris, barely a stone throw distance from the Eiffel Tower. And this is where the Prime Minister would be staying. And you can hear, and I want to show you, this is the Indian community. They've assembled here. They are here in the traditional saffron pagris. This, of course, is the Special Protection Group, SPG security, that's already been deployed here. Officials of the Ministry of External Affairs. But this is all at the Plaza Athénée Hotel, Shiv, the hotel where the Prime Minister will be staying. But if we were to, for a moment, get back and talk about what's happening at the airport, Shiv, we've been told that the Prime Minister of France, Elizabeth Borne, she'll be receiving Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Again, yes. It's a rare honor. The President, of course, as of now, is out. He would be here shortly. He would be hosting the Prime Minister for a private dinner tonight at the Élysée Palace. And then tomorrow, that big dinner at Louvre, that the French media is also very extensively talking about, Shiv. But these chants of Bharat Mata Ki Jai tell you about the excitement in the Indian community, point one. Point two, the outcomes that are expected, that you and I have been talking about very extensively from this meeting. France is very excited. This is Silver Jubilee, 25 years of this relationship being celebrated, and the roadmap for the Golden Jubilee will be decided from this point on, Shiv.
Very, very interesting. Now, officials are descending down the ladder, the staircase to the Prime Minister's aircraft. We'll see the Prime Minister in just a couple of moments from now. As Gaurav just said, we can hear the chants coming in from outside the hotel, where members of the Indian community are waiting for the arrival of the Prime Minister. I wonder if anyone has assembled outside the airport as well. These are live pictures, of course, from the Orly airport in Paris, where the Prime Minister's aircraft has just landed. The Prime Minister will be, like Gaurav just said, received by the French Prime Minister. He'll be meeting the French President later for that state banquet at the Élysée Palace, and also the Louvre Museum. There's a state banquet at the Louvre Museum. I think that's scheduled for tomorrow. But Gaurav, today the Tri-Services Guard of Honor, there's a meeting with the President of the Senate also. Then an official meeting with the Prime Minister of France. And later on, as expected, a community event at the La Scène Musicale. Gaurav, what's that going to be like? Lots of Indian community diaspora event with the Prime Minister?
So Shiv, initially this was meant to be a diaspora event. It started off, when it was conceptualized, it was a diaspora event. But then the number of French nationals who actually started signing up for it, the number of leaders who said who wanted to be a part of it, members of the civil society here in France who said they wanted to be a part of it. So from a diaspora event, it became a community event, and then the government had to make arrangements here to have simultaneous translation. The Prime Minister speaks Hindi, it would be translated in English, and it would be translated in French real time. So because the number of people who wanted to be a part of this event, point one. Point two, this is actually a roadmap, as you very rightly pointed out, after the Tri-Services Guard of Honor and the fact that the Prime Minister will be received by the French Prime Minister Elizabeth Borne at the airport, again shows the kind of importance France attaches to this relationship and taking this relationship forward.
Yeah.
But beyond this symbolism, when there is a meeting with the leader of the Senate, that again is very important, because like in the United States of America, where the Prime Minister or where India enjoys both support of the Republicans and the Democrats, and the Prime Minister addressed the Senate, here, because it's Bastille Day, it's a holiday,
yes.
So addressing the Parliament wasn't there, but he's meeting the President of the Senate.
ये सीधी तस्वीरें इस वक्त पेरिस से आप देख रहे हैं जहां प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी पहुंचे।
That was the French Tri-Service Band playing both the Indian national anthem as well as the French national anthem. Let's try and listen in if there's more sound coming in.
ये सीधी तस्वीरें इस वक्त पेरिस से आप देख रहे हैं जहां प्रधानमंत्री।
Okay, so the honor has been extended to the Prime Minister, a very rare honor. This is not something that is extended to all visiting world leaders. The Indian relationship with France is a special one. The bonhomie between the Indian Prime Minister, the French President, is a well-known one. Elizabeth Borne, the French Prime Minister in the French system, there personally to receive the Indian Prime Minister, sends out a big message about what this relationship means to both countries. Remember that the Indian government has just cleared a series of big-ticket deals that will be announced during this visit.
की आप इन तस्वीरों में साफ तौर पर देख सकते हैं, तो ये समझ सकते हैं किस तरह से, क्योंकि विशिष्ट अतिथि भी हैं, कल बैस्टिल डे परेड होना है और उस परेड के विशिष्ट अतिथि के तौर पर फ्रांस ने भारत के प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी को बुलाया है। इसलिए भी ये बहुत ही खास मेहमान नवाजी, ये खास अगवानी की जा रही है फ्रांस की तरफ से, जहां की खुद वहां की प्रधानमंत्री एलिजाबेथ बॉर्न एयरपोर्ट पर पहुंची हुई हैं और इन तस्वीरों में आप देख सकते हैं वो प्रधानमंत्री मोदी की अगवानी करते हुए साथ साथ चलते हुए वहां पे गार्ड ऑफ ऑनर दिया गया। पहले भारत की धुन, उसके बाद फ्रांस की राष्ट्रीय धुन, और इस वक्त इन तस्वीरों के जरिए आप देख सकते हैं भारत और फ्रांस के बीच गहरे होते संबंधों को जब वहां की पीएम खुद अगवानी के लिए पहुंची।
बिल्कुल, और निश्चित तौर से भारत के लिए, भारत के 140 करोड़ लोगों के लिए।
Okay, I want to bring Gaurav back in. Gaurav, I'm not sure if you can see these images live because you're outside the hotel, but you know, the Prime Minister along with Elizabeth Borne getting that tri-service guard of honor, absolutely wonderful privilege being extended to the Prime Minister. Very, very symbolic of the relationship and how substantive the rest of these 2 days is going to look like, Gaurav.
Shiv, every aspect of this visit, it's huge on symbolism and it's huge on the substantive outcomes that are expected. On symbolism, the fact that the Prime Minister of France went to the airport to receive Prime Minister Narendra Modi, it sends out a signal. That's point one. Point two, the French President on Bastille Day invites Prime Minister Narendra Modi as the guest of honor. Bastille Day is all about liberty and peace and democracy in France. India is the largest democracy in the world. So it sends out a very powerful signal to the entire world when the leader of the democratic, the world's largest democracy is invited on Bastille Day. These are the symbolism. Then the dinner at Louvre. Now, while there have been private dinners at Louvre, the world's most visited museum, France boasts of more than 3 lakh artifacts. Lakhs and lakhs of visitors visit the Louvre every year, but this year, tomorrow on the Bastille Day, Louvre would be shut because the French President would be showing Prime Minister Narendra Modi around some of the most chosen artifacts there at the museum that he wants to showcase to the Prime Minister of India. So that would be a private tour for the Prime Minister, and then a state dinner, a state banquet at the Louvre on the 14th of July on Bastille Day. That again, the French media is talking about it very extensively, saying this is a huge signal that France is sending out not just to India but to the rest of the world. Again, 2 very powerful democracies, and Shiv, as you well know, both not aligned to any pole, very independent. Yes, France is a part of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, but do remember in 1998 when the Pokhran test happened and when sanctions were imposed on India, France did not impose sanctions on India. Then President Jacques Chirac had taken a completely different view. That completely different view stays till now and is only being strengthened. So Shiv, this is where these 2 countries are very big on symbolism on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit on the silver jubilee of that relationship, where they'll actually come out with a roadmap, Shiv, of the next 25 years, how this relationship should be taken forward.
And Gaurav, it's interesting that you mentioned the nuclear aspect, because we understand that there could be a nuclear element to some of the announcements being made between India and France. The Jaitapur nuclear plant in India is likely to see an infusion of French technology. And also, as you know, Gaurav, just a couple of hours ago, the Indian Defence Ministry cleared those deals that you had actually broken the news about. The Rafale deal, the Scorpion submarine deal, all those have been cleared now by the Defence Ministry. So the Indian and French leadership will now make that announcement either today or tomorrow at some point.
Shiv, we do expect forward movement on both, these huge agreements that you and I have been discussing on India Today for the past several days. Whether it's the 26 Rafale Marines, the Shakti engines, the helicopter engines to be manufactured in India, or moving forward on the 3 Scorpion submarines. But Shiv, there will be a lot more that will be announced. I spoke to some of the CEOs who would be at the CEO forum, and Shiv, very, very critical when they talk about clean energy. There would be a big push in renewable energy, in clean energy, investments to be made there. And Shiv, one aspect that India and France are talking about very extensively now is not just immediate acquisition for the current situation, but how do you take this relationship forward and cement it? You do it when you work together, when you think together, when your thinking is aligned. So that is where there should be forward movement on intellectuals and academics coming together. So our students studying in universities here and studying high-end technology, in critical and emerging technologies, not restricted to military hardware, but in several other aspects. So all of this on the table, and there would be forward movement in many of these on these aspects, whether it's locomotive manufacturing, how do you scale that up? A lot of this conversation, Shiv, will also be about ties that are there, deals that are there, but how do you scale up manufacturing? How do you scale up investment? How do you scale up this relationship? So scaling up would be a very important aspect that would emerge in the talks that happen both today and tomorrow.
Okay, Gaurav is at the Hotel Plaza Athene, where the Prime Minister is staying. His entourage will be heading towards the hotel, if I'm not mistaken, right from the airport. That's the Prime Minister getting into that vehicle from the airport, bidding goodbye to the French Prime Minister. Only for the moment. He'll be meeting her later this evening for an official meeting, of course. This was just the guard of honor and the amazing welcome that has been extended to him. Gaurav, I'm going to let you go for the moment because, you know, I can tell there are lots of Indian community members behind you who probably want to lend their voice to your coverage as well. So I'm going to let you go for the moment, and we'll plug back in with you in just a few minutes from now to get a flavor of that as well. Prime Minister Modi heading to the location where Gaurav is right now. We'll get back to him in just a moment. But as Gaurav was just saying, the Prime Minister is in France to be the chief guest, the guest of honor for the grand Bastille Day celebration that takes place tomorrow. There is a very proud Indian military contingent that will be part of the march past, very rare honor. Indian Rafale jets are going to be flying as part of the French National Day fly past as well. These are honors not extended to any country at all, and is very much an affirmation of the very deep relationship that India and France share. The Prime Minister will be, remember, the chief guest at the Bastille Day Parade tomorrow on the Champs-Élysées. He will be the sole dignitary in attendance, which is a rare honor. In the past, France has usually invited, a host of world leaders. This time, it is Modi of India alone. Well, the big highlight of the Bastille Day celebration will be the 3 Indian Air Force Rafale fighter jets that will be part of the flypast. Those are pictures in the middle there of the Indian Rafales in Paris, which will be very much part of that flypast. They will be flying alongside French jets, and on the right side of your screen you can see the Indian contingent, the pilots, the ground crew, the staff, the workers, all of whom are very much the heroes and part of the Indian contingent who will be making possible the Rafale's tryst with the Bastille Day celebration. The Indian Air Force's Rafales, 77 personnel will participate in the overall parade tomorrow. Here's a first look. These are pictures of the Rafales at an airbase in France, and these are the same Rafales that you will see in the air over Paris tomorrow, flying with French Rafales.
हमारे लिए बहुत ही प्रेस्टिजियस इशू है. इतने दूर हम आए हैं, क्लोज टू 4,500 माइल्स हम फ्लाई करके आए हैं. हमारे एयरक्राफ्ट बिना लैंडिंग बीच में करके एयर टू एयर रिफ्यूलिंग करके आए हैं. ऑलमोस्ट 10 आवर्स हमने फ्लाई किया है कंटिन्यूअसली, फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम एवर दैट एनी एयरक्राफ्ट हैज फ्लोन सो लॉन्ग फ्रॉम इंडिया, एंड वी लैंडेड हियर. For us, it's an amazing feeling. The French people here are so nice, and they've been very helpful in every which way. They are supporting us to manage this detachment. As you know, the French, these Rafales are of French origin, so we have a good amount of interoperability between the two of us.
हमारे लिए बहुत ही गौरव का विषय है कि हम रफाल्स को फिर से फ्रांस लेकर आए हैं, जो कि ऑलरेडी इसकी कंट्री ऑफ ओरिजिन है. और यहाँ पर हम हमारे ही प्राइम मिनिस्टर जो कि गेस्ट ऑफ ऑनर होंगे बास्टील डे परेड में, उनकी प्रेजेंस में जो बास्टील डे का प्रेस्टिजियस बहुत ही एलैबोरेट फ्लाई पास्ट होता है, उसके ऑलमोस्ट ओपनिंग फॉर्मेशंस में हैं, और हमारे लिए सच में काफ़ी गौरव का विषय है.
It is a moment of tremendous pride for us, since we'll be representing our country as well as our force on foreign land in front of our own Prime Minister, who will be witnessing the parade. And also, since we'll be leading the contingent, we have this extra thrill, and we have we'll be setting the bar, so we'll be so happy about being the part of French National Day on the Bastille Day. So most of the arrangements and the coordination is being taken care of the French people. They have been coordinating everything with us, including the timing, the position and everything. Though we were practicing the format of the parade before we came here for about 3 weeks. After we came here, we've been fine-tuned to their way of marching and their procedures and all that.
Okay, the Prime Minister and his entourage have left the airport and they're on their way to the hotel where they will be welcomed by the Indian community and other leaders who are waiting for the Prime Minister there. Gaurav Sawant is at the hotel. He'll be joining us in just a moment from now. In a couple of minutes, the Prime Minister will be reaching that particular hotel. Okay, on the left-hand side, images from right outside the hotel. You can see large numbers. Let's go full frame with those pictures for just a moment. I want to show our viewers the huge crowds that have gathered outside the Plaza Athene Hotel. Of course, there's a great deal of security for the Prime Minister outside the hotel. But people holding the Tiranga, thronging one side of the road, waiting to catch a glimpse of the Indian Prime Minister as he arrives in just a couple of minutes from now. Gaurav Sawant, I'm going to get to him in just a few seconds from now. He's connecting with us. We'll be speaking to some of these Indians who are there to see the Prime Minister. There's a community event later tonight at about 11 p.m. India time that the Prime Minister will be participating in. It will not be the traditional diaspora kind of event that one has gotten come to expect from the Prime Minister when he travels on such visits, but it will involve a large number of community members from the Indian diaspora. So we'll tell you about that in just a few minutes from now. But these pictures from outside the hotel right before the Indian Prime Minister arrives. There's a great deal of buzz over the things that are going to be announced. The red carpet has been rolled out for the Indian Prime Minister, very much in keeping with the huge deals that India stands to sign with France. France is a massive beneficiary, of the Indian military and the Indian economy. India is going to be signing big deals. They're not going to be signed today, but they're going to be announced today or tomorrow by the Indian Prime Minister as well as the French leadership, including deals for 26 Rafales, 3 more French Scorpion-class submarines, nuclear technology, helicopter and fighter aircraft engines, and a great deal else, including cultural, economic and trade agreements. Gaurav continues to be with us. Gaurav, the Prime Minister going to be arriving there any time now, apparently.
Shiv, we are told in another couple of minutes the Prime Minister's cavalcade will reach this hotel. And if I may, Shiv, that's the Indian community here, here in numbers, excited about receiving the Prime Minister. You hear chants of Vande Mataram and Bharat Mata Ki Jai. So they're very excited. They're waiting. Some of them are wearing those saffron pagdis. They say they've got that saffron pagdi for the Prime Minister also, and they wonder if they'd be permitted to wear this. But Shiv, if I may, it's not just the Indian media, but there are a lot of curious onlookers who are also here, equally excited about this enthusiasm. But on that substantive aspect that you and I were talking about, you're absolutely right, Shiv. It's not just restricted to military hardware, but a lot more that India and France intend to talk about over the next 48 hours. Symbolism and the Bastille Day Parade, that is something that the French media is also talking about very extensively. In the First World War, as you well know,
yes,
more than 140,000 Indian soldiers had participated, and 9,000 Indian soldiers had made the supreme sacrifice of their lives here in the First World War, defending freedom in France. 163 cemeteries in France, talk about the valor of those Indian soldiers, and that is something again that binds the relationship between India and France.
And Gaurav, just for the benefit of our viewers, take us through what the rest of the day is going to look like. The Prime Minister is going to reach the hotel. What does the rest of his agenda today look like?
So Shiv, once he reaches the hotel, there's a small internal meeting. Then he goes and meets the President of the Senate here. After that, he meets the Prime Minister of France. She received him at the airport.
Yeah.
There will be an official meeting with Elizabeth Borne. And then there is the Indian community event. Or now, of course, we are told that it's not just an Indian community event. There will be simultaneous translation even in French, given the number of people who want to be there, who've signed up for it. After that, the Prime Minister would head for the Elysee Palace, and at Elysee Palace there is a private dinner with the French President. So today, this is the Prime Minister's on his agenda. Tomorrow, it's early in the morning. He is guest of honor at the Bastille Day Parade, the French Independence Day. And again, that is something that everyone here is talking about. The march past is led by the Indian Armed Forces contingents. The first is of the Punjab Regiment, then the Rajputana Rifles Regiment Band, then the Navy and the Air Force. So tremendous excitement even about their participation, and the Punjab Regiment contingent and the Rajputana Rifles, then they head to Neuve-Chapelle, where the sacrifices had been made by the Punjab Regiment troops. They will be felicitated there. Some of the war veterans, their children, those regiments that fought together, they'll all be coming together on the 15th. So after Bastille Day, there are more celebrations lined up as far as military to military contact is concerned, and this is a tradition that has actually endured and endeared Indian soldiers to people here in France.
Okay, so tomorrow early in the morning France time, and of course we'll be getting you live coverage of the Bastille Day Parade and the celebrations tomorrow. Because that is the that is the crown jewel of this visit, really. The Prime Minister as the guest of honor of the single most important day in the French calendar. It's the anniversary of the French Revolution. It's called Bastille Day. It commemorates the storming of the Bastille, the end of the aristocracy and the beginning of democratic France. It's also a day that marks, very much like India's Republic Day, an opportunity to showcase the French military strength and military might, and that's the reason why you see a military parade down the Champs-Élysées, where Gaurav will be from early tomorrow morning, as well as that military flypast, which will feature for the first time Indian Air Force fighter jets. So a great deal of flavor and symbolism on this visit. It's a brief visit. It's a two-day visit that the Prime Minister will be making. Obviously not his first time in France. He's been to France multiple times since he came to office. But this particular Milan between Prime Minister Modi and President Macron is also going to be looked at with a great deal of interest, given that the India-France connection comes amidst a very, very rapidly changing world in the wake of the Ukraine war, in the wake of what's happening between India and China, what's happening in the Taiwan Strait and the Asia Pacific. The India-France relationship is one that has not only endured the test of time, but has actually grown by leaps and bounds. Even as India navigates a difficult diplomatic tightrope between the United States and Russia, France has stood out as one of India's most reliable partners in every possible sphere. Whether it comes to trade, whether it comes to culture, whether it comes to defense, whether it comes to education, whether it comes to financial dealings. In all respects, India and France have stayed with each other and proven to be extremely reliable and committed partners as far as each other are concerned. And that's also one of the reasons why France has a large Indian expat population, and there is also a large French expat population that lives and works here in India. Let's just listen into some official reactions coming in right before the Prime Minister reaches the hotel that he's staying at.
In a visit that's just about 36 hours, Prime Minister will meet leaders, presidents of the Senate and the National Assembly. He will also later today address the Indian community. President Macron, who is the principal host, organizing a private dinner today evening with formal talks tomorrow. There is, of course, the main event, the Bastille Day celebration, which both Prime Ministers will attend. Later in the evening tomorrow, there's a state banquet, as well as interaction with the CEOs and other personalities. All in all, a very packed program, and we will keep on bringing you updates.
Okay, Gaurav still with us. Gaurav, Prime Minister going to be arriving there very, very shortly.
Shiv, anytime now, and if I may, the dhol, the nagadas, they're already here, and there are a lot of curious onlookers. The traffic on the road has virtually stopped. Look at the number of people who assembled on the other side of the road. France has lakhs and lakhs of tourists every year. A large number of those tourists have now stopped here, and they're actually taking pictures of what's happening here, asking people, asking officials what's happening, and they're being told that the Indian Prime Minister is about to arrive. So, they're also standing and waiting to see all this enthusiasm and all this color. India is all about our vibrant colors. You see a lot of it right now here, and we are barely a stone's throw distance from the Eiffel Tower. If I may, I'll try and show you the Eiffel Tower if it's possible. Well, that's the Eiffel Tower that you see there. So this hotel is just very close to the Eiffel Tower, and this is the Prime Minister's hotel. That's the Indian community, and those are the tourists, those are the curious onlookers, who are here just seeing what's happening. A lot of, look at that parent, he has his daughter up on his shoulder. She's also very curious to see what's all this dance and drama all about. But these are the vibrant colors of India that are now visible in France. Incidentally, there was a Festival of India in France very recently, and there were a large number of people there. See, look at some of the dancing that's happening on the street. The tourists are also enjoying themselves, Shiv. So this is what is happening as we wait for the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
Already a traffic jam, which means that somewhere down the line, traffic has already been stopped. Somewhere we are told the Prime Minister should be here in the next 5 minutes or in less than 5 minutes. And that is why all the SPG officials are also already on an alert. As far as the French people, when we've spoken to the French armed forces, as far as they are concerned, and I interviewed the commanding officer of the Charles de Gaulle, the aircraft carrier. We spoke to some of the other officials who are a part of the parade. They say that this bonhomie and this camaraderie is not just, pomp and show for ceremonies. It's actually very effective on ground and joint exercises, as you very well know, whether it's Garud exercise, Garud that takes place, or Varuna exercise that takes place. All these exercises have tremendous, capabilities where the Indian and the French pilots, they actually test each other, and they've come up in each other's eyes. They're flying their machines to their limits and learning from each other. Now, Shiv, if this can extend to joint manufacturing of fighter jets, or joint manufacturing, joint development and design of these engines, that would be amazing. And that would take this relationship altogether to a new level, and that's the effort, Shiv.
Your voice is almost completely drowned out, Gaurav, by the Bharat Mata Ki chants, behind you, and I suspect they're going to get even louder in the next couple of minutes once the Prime Minister actually arrives. But this level of interest from those crowds is something we see on all these foreign visits. Neha is also with us. She's outside the hotel as well. Neha, all set for the Prime Minister's arrival at the Hotel Plaza Athene. Okay, I think maybe Neha can't hear me just yet. We'll try and reconnect with her. I think she's adjusting her camera, getting set for that coverage once the Prime Minister lands there. Gaurav, I'm going to continue to stay with you because this is really interesting. This is a very normal sort of Paris street where, where the hotel is. Has that entire area been completely cordoned off? Because, we can see people walking around as well.
So this area has been cordoned off. Shiv, let me show you. It gets better when you see it yourself. So this is the Indian community. I hope you can see this.
Yes.
This is the Indian community. Let me just pan this camera around. This is the Indian community. This is the street, and that's the Eiffel Tower up there. Now usually this place is bustling, but right now there are some restrictions on movement. Traffic is being diverted. Some vehicles are still permitted, but the traffic on the other side has been diverted because the police say the Prime Minister's cavalcade will be here anytime now. And Shiv, I think the cavalcade is here, and let me show you. The initial vehicles can be seen. The initial vehicles, and this police officer is telling me to move back, Shiv, but I want to show you the cavalcade. This is the Prime Minister's cavalcade. The initial vehicles are coming in. The first, escort motorcycle is already in. The police officers telling us to move back. The tourists are being told to move on the other side. But this is the Prime Minister's cavalcade that is now arriving at the Plaza Athénée Hotel right next to the Eiffel Tower in Paris. This is the Prime Minister's cavalcade. It has arrived, Shiv.
Okay, so that's the Prime Minister's cavalcade arriving with those...
Going right now, sir. Going right now.
With
So the
bike.
police officer tells me to move back.
Yes, Gaurav, you can move to a safer spot. So, you know, we can reconnect with you. We'll get Gaurav back in just 30 seconds. There's the Prime Minister's cavalcade pulling in at the Hotel Plaza Athénée in Paris, in central Paris, not very far from the Eiffel Tower. The Indian community members all there with the Indian Tiranga waiting for the Prime Minister. Obviously, he's going to give them a wave, probably spend some time, going up to them. He does that quite often on these foreign visits, given that a lot of these community members come from a long way off just to get a glimpse of the Prime Minister. If they're lucky, they get a selfie as well. Let's wait for this. Let's listen to the sound from the ground.
दिखा रहे हैं ये बिल्कुल
उनको बोल के साइड ललित थोड़ी साइड
वहां पे गए
हटाओ ना ये जो तुम्हारा एम्बेसी वाला है Security!
Wearing their color.
Security!
वंदे मातरम, भारत माता की जय, ये गुंजायमान साफ तौर से हो रहा है फ्रांस की पेरिस की सड़कों पर.
So that's the Prime Minister, you know, spending a few seconds with almost every person gathered there in this huge crowd waiting to see the Prime Minister, tapping one youngster on his back, saying hello to the little kids there with their parents before he goes into the hotel. There's no way that the Prime Minister was going to simply disappear into the hotel. He always has a moment for the Indian diaspora. They hold a special place in his heart, as he does in theirs clearly, those who've come at least. Some of them, we're told, from a long way off. They've taken their cars, the famous Paris metro as well, to get to this place. Very small part of this this location that's not been cordoned off has been given to the diaspora. Let's listen into the further.
महिला है
जिन्होंने गाना सुनाया था,
जिन्होंने गाना सुनाया था वो एक बार फिर से वहाँ अपनी सुर और ताल छेड़ रही है.
बिल्कुल. और ये अपने आप में
There's a lady who's singing to the Prime Minister. I hope we get the audio of this in just a short while from now. She's recording it with her phone as well. She's gotten emotional. She's actually broken down after rendering a song for the Prime Minister. We'll get that for you also in just a few minutes from now.
बिल्कुल. और दूसरी महिला अपने गले में
So the Prime Minister now waving to the crowd, signaling that he's going to make his way into the hotel right now. Obviously a huge amount of security, both Indian and French, for the Indian leader. And there it is, a final namaskar to the crowd before the Prime Minister goes into the hotel. There's going to be an internal meeting, and then after an hour there will be a large number of official engagements that continue through today in Paris. Okay, so the Prime Minister has entered the Palace Plaza Athene Hotel in Paris. Gaurav continues to be with us. Gaurav, 5-6 minutes. Okay, reactions coming in from the diaspora. Let's listen in.
तो मैं बहुत आभारी हूँ गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया के लिए और मैं 40 साल से कल्चर का प्रमोट कर रही हूँ, कथक डांस सिखा रही हूँ और योगा, म्यूजिक, एवरीथिंग एंड आई एम रनिंग एन इंस्टीट्यूशन कॉल्ड बिंदी इन नाम. थैंक यू वेरी मच.
मोदी है तो मुमकिन है. We are here to support. We love Modi.
I was very excited. बहुत अच्छा लगा मोदी जी को इतने पास से देखने का. Thank you so much.
सर दो लाइन I can sing. डेडिकेट टू प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी. प्रतिपल जीवन नव कोणों में विकसित होता जाए. धन्य विश्व विद्यालय भारत स्वर्ग धरा पर लाए. मोदी है तो मुमकिन है.
Yes, we love you, मोदी जी.
Okay, so 7 minutes that the Prime Minister spent with the Indian community outside his hotel. He's now gone in for his official engagements. He'll be meeting with senior members of the Indian government, the Indian embassy, etc. inside his hotel before beginning what's going to be a very busy day for the Prime Minister. Remember, France is 3.5 hours behind India and therefore a large part of the day stretches before the Prime Minister to meet with the President of the Senate, the Prime Minister of France. There's a state banquet with the President of France later this evening as well. Large number of official engagements and photo opportunities. Late tonight, India time, there is a community event as well. And you will see all of those things here on India Today. The Prime Minister in Paris now, and his official visit has formally begun. Gaurav, Prime Minister inside, I imagine, with all the Indian officials getting a full briefing before beginning what's going to be a very important day, full of meetings today.
Shiv, absolutely. In fact, the French ambassador to India is also with the Prime Minister, the Foreign Secretary, India's ambassador to France, other top officials of the Prime Minister's office and the Minister of External Affairs. They're all with the Prime Minister. There would be, they would brief the Prime Minister on what next for him before he heads out for his interaction with the President of the Senate first and then with the Prime Minister of France. Both these meetings are also very important as far as India-France relations are. But the real, sense of that conversation will happen at that private dinner, Shiv, with the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, because one, both of them refer to each other as my personal friend. They have a great personal chemistry, we are told. They've been talking to each other very extensively, not just in person while they met at Hiroshima on the sidelines of G7. They've been meeting at other multilateral platforms. Both of them, Shiv, are very keen on a multipolar world, and this is where this friendship becomes very crucial. India wants to remain a very strong follower in independent foreign policy and independent national policy, which is in India's best national interest. So India is very close to the United States of America. India is very close to Russia. India is equally close to France, and even with China, even though there are problems at the line of actual control, India wants to ensure that it's not seen, in any military grouping against China. So Quad is not AUKUS the way the AUKUS remains a military grouping of Australia, United Kingdom and the United States of America. So this is where India and France become very critical. Independent democratic voices that will bring stability to the world. That is the focus. Again, a point that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has repeatedly made, Shiv,
yes,
is that India is the voice of the developing world and India is the bridge between the developing world and the Western world. So that is where India plays a very critical role now along with France.
Very, very crucial role that you're going to see manifested in a very symbolic and real meaningful way over the next 36 hours. The most important 36 hours for the India-France relationship. Gaurav, thank you only for the moment. We'll of course connect right back with you in a couple of hours from now when the Prime Minister's other engagements begin. There will be photo opportunities and live opportunities there as well.